Dawle. My Chinese name is Meishan, and I'm Syrian. You cannot find a lot of Syrians here. And let me introduce myself. I moved from Syria to study university in Turkey in 2014. And then after I graduated, I moved to Taiwan. Now I'm working on my master's degree at NTNU. And I'm working with at Radio Taiwan International at the Arabic department. And I also teach Arabic if anyone is interested at Unshi, Zhongxi. Yeah. Okay, and today I want to talk to you about Syria. So at the beginning I'm going to give you some information, general information, and then I will introduce the Arabic language because you're going to treat with a lot of Arabic speakers. And a little bit about the education in Syria, the beauty of Syria, so some touristic areas in Syria, the religion, which is very important, and some holidays, and in the end, if we have time, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Syrian cuisine. Okay, so anyone knows where is Syria? Where is Syria? Syria. Okay, so Syria is right here. Where's Taiwan? Right here, right? Okay. So Syria is located in the Western Asia, north of the Arabian Peninsula, which is right here. And there's Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Dubai, and also at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. Syria is bordered by Turkey to the north, Iraq to the east, of course Lebanon and Palestine to the west, and also the Mediterranean Sea, and Jordan to the south. More information about Syria. Syria, the full name is Syrian Arab Republic. The capital is Damascus. The official language is Arabic language. And the area is, you can say, it's almost 6 times Taiwan. The currency is Syrian pound. Here I didn't add the population because, many Syrians went out of Syria after 2011. But at that time it was around 23 million, so it's almost the same like Taiwan. But the area is 6 times bigger, so you can imagine how big our houses is. Not like the houses here, it's too tiny. Okay. Because we're gonna talk and speak with a lot of Arabic speakers, so I think you have to know a little bit about our language. So Arabic language is the 5th most spoken language in the world. Arabic is one of the 6 official languages of the United Nations. It is spoken by around 420 million people. It is official language of 22 countries, which are the Arabic countries, and it is the language of Islam and Quran. So the Quran, the original Quran, is written in Arabic language, and it is written from right to left. The opposite, like usually it's from left to right, but Arabic. Many people confused because it's from right to left. And here one thing you should know that it is the official language of 22 Arabic countries. So we have 22 Arabic countries, but we have a standard Arabic language. Everyone can speak standard Arabic language, but each country has their own accent. For example, I'm from Syria, I have my Syrian accent. And for Egypt, they have the Egyptian accent. Sometimes it's hard for us to understand some terms, so we will move to speak in the standard Arabic, which everyone can understand. The standard Arabic, we usually use it in schools, and on TV, news, books, everything is in standard Arabic. But the accent or the dialect, we just talk at home or in our daily life. Okay, let me give you an example. Once I met an Egyptian girl here, and we were talking about the Turkish delight, and she said malban, the name of that dessert. But I say raha, which is very different than malban, and there's not even one common letter. And we couldn't understand each other. other. And then we say, okay, tell me what is the standard Arabic? And then we say hulqum, which is a completely different word, but we can understand it because we both can speak the standard Arabic. So if foreigners want to learn Arabic, they should learn the standard Arabic, not the dialect. The education. Education is totally free in Syria and compulsory from ages 7 to 15. Also, university is free. And it is taught, and yes, we learn two second languages, English and French. English is taught from grade 1 and French from grade 7. And then after we finish our high school, we can choose between English or French to continue with it during our university studies. And at school, of course, everything is taught in standard Arabic, not the dialect Arabic. So books, everything is in standard Arabic. And we also learn religion at school. So we have, for example, I'm Muslim, I have Muslim classes, Muslim courses at school. And yes, one more thing, which is very different from here, that the study hours. We usually go to school our school starts at 8 a.m., but finish maximum at 2 p.m. Maximum. Even for high schools. Like we just go back home for maximum 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. we go back home. We don't stay there for the midnight, I don't know, 7 p.m. No. Only at 2 p.m. we finish school. And not like Taiwan, we are not very, I don't think I need to use this. Okay. Because we are not, our cram school is not very popular in Syria. We have the education institutes. After school we might go there to learn some specific thing, but it's not like really very important to go there, or only if you are in need, or if you are very weak in some topics you can go there, but in general we just don't go there. So after 2 p.m. you can imagine we can live our life, go to play, watch TV, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, good. Before one more thing. In 2018, I was volunteering in Taichung, one school, primary school, and it was very funny because I had no idea that it was last at 5 p.m. So when on my first day I went there and I was waiting and then say, okay, now it's nap time. I said, nap time? And everyone turned off the lights and everyone was in their head and only me is awake and like, what is going on? Everyone is asleep. And we stayed after a couple days, staying until 5 p.m. I also took a nap with them. So okay, so here's some beautiful places in Syria. Usually you just see the war, you just see the news, the sad news about Syria, but actually there is a very, very interesting culture that you should know about and very beautiful places. Syria is famous as the country of jasmine. Actually, not Syria, the Damascus city, the country of jasmine. We can, if you go there, you can see a lot of jasmine trees. I think this kind of jasmine is not, you cannot find it here. I think it's a bit different than the Taiwanese jasmine. And after train, you can imagine that smell, that you can smell the jasmine from meters away. Not only in the famous areas, even in the backyards for the houses, any house you can find a lot of jasmine trees. And you might see a lot of these, the Arabian essential oil. Many people like to buy the essential oil because they like the strong smell of jasmine. So today I'm going to introduce you 4 different places in Syria, or cities. The first one is Aleppo, which is in the north. I think you know Aleppo the most. And then it's Hama, the center of Syria. Tadmur, which is in the desert, is here. And Damascus in the south, which is the capital. And this area, actually, it's all desert. Not many people live here. Usually, the population is here. So Aleppo is the largest city in Syria. The population is over 4.6 million, and it has many beautiful historical places. For example, the Aleppo Citadel, it is one of the oldest and largest castles in the world. So you can see how big is it. And here's some places inside the castle. It is located in the center of the old city. And here's I think the entrance. So it dates back to the Middle Ages. And it's very popular for its architectural places. For example, there's the throne hall and it is one of the most important Mamluk architectural contribution to the citadel of Aleppo. And also, one thing is very famous in Syria, which is the covered souks or markets. I think it's also, you can see many of these covered markets in Turkey, if you went there before. So this souk market, it dates back to 312 BC. And here you can see the souk inside. It's really very famous one. I think it affected somehow because of the war, but it's still there. And it is one of the longest covered markets in the world. It is divided into 8 markets with a length of more than 14 kilometers. So you can imagine if you went there, you're gonna definitely get lost because you cannot get out, you cannot see the sun, it's all covered, you cannot see anything. Okay. And one other thing that it is very interesting in not only in Syria but other Arabic or maybe Middle Eastern countries, which is the baths. We call it the hammam. The hammam, we like to go there, take a shower, yes. And for example, this bath, it was founded 800 years ago. It's a very old one. And here's how it looks from the inside. So we don't take a bath right here. We just go there. We sit there. We like to have tea, coffee, shisha maybe, and so weird bath. And then we go inside and take a bath with a very hot water. Usually, we don't go there. Of course, we have a bath at home, not daily thing, but we just go there for maybe we go out with friends, or for example, if someone is getting married, before they get married, we like to go there, have a small party with bath, shower. I don't know. It sounds weird, but it's culture. So, okay. And one thing is very famous in Syria, especially in Aleppo, and you can find it in Taiwan, which is the Aleppo soap. It was invented 40 century ago. It is a natural product made of olive oil and l'oreal oil, pay oil. So you can see, this is handmade, and this is the factory. And here's the factory. They made it by hand and they keep it there. There is nothing chemical. They don't use any machines, anything to make this soap. And they keep it there. This soap has to dry for a couple months, it's at least 4 to 6 months, I guess. So it's really very natural, very healthy. We use it for many things, not only wash face. We also sometimes use it for washing hair. Sometimes we wash dishes. So it's really very soft. And one thing that you may maybe you've never seen in Taiwan, which is the pistachio tree. This is how pistachio tree look like. So usually we just buy the fresh one, we take it off, we peel it, and we eat it. And of course, pistachio is very, very famous. Even in Arabic, we say the pistachio of Aleppo. So it's very famous in Aleppo city. And you can find a lot of desserts, including pistachio in it, and also you can find some in Taiwan. There's some stores now selling the desserts. Another city is Hama city. Hama city is famous for the Noryas, these. There's over 15 or maybe 15:1, range their diameters range from 10 meter to 22 meter. So it's very special because it's really very old, and many people like to go there just to sit by next to them and have a cup of tea. And one of the really very beautiful places, which is Palmyra. You may heard of it before because it's very famous in Syria, Palmyra, but in Arabic we call it Tadmor. So it's different name in Arabic. It is located in the desert, in the middle, in Homs City, the eastern area. And it first was mentioned in the 2 millennium before century. And more about Palmyra. When I went there, I felt like I am in completely different world. It's like desert, many historical places, many castles, many beautiful, really very different. So you can see there a lot of historical places, like there's the Roman theater, and there is the Tetrapillion, and there is also the Muslim castle on a very huge hill. So you can imagine if you went there, you will really feel like you were in the old years. You moved there. And there's also a lot of ancient temples, because in the previous time there were no Islam, so there were many other religions. And we moved to my city, Damascus. So I'm Damascusian. Okay. And it is the oldest capital in the world. It's really very old. Basically, just like, imagine like Taipei and New Taipei. So we have Damascus, the old city, and the normal Damascus, where we are